that is, this is part of our ethics reform. In recent experience, a legislator who had his own counsel and ran up a large legal bill, had that bill paid by a fate or a party that was thrown at the altar club. And that struck many as an unseemly consequence, where again, donations were made or gifts were made, or however they were characterized, to pay this legislator's bill. We don't want to see that happen. We want to make sure this is a public process that has integrity and that is fair. And so it's entirely appropriate, in our view, to have the legislator's legal bills paid. And then finally, this isn't...
You better kind of wrap up your...
Okay, I'm wrapping. This is not a criminal process. Our bill does not criminalize any conduct. It's civil and remedial in nature. And once the tribunal makes a recommendation, that's all it can do. It can't punish itself, it cannot fine, it cannot do anything. But recommend to a disposition of the case. And if the disposition is that there's been an ethical violation and a remedy is in order, then it goes to the respective house of the legislature for final and ultimate review by, again, as I put it earlier, the ultimate jury of peers for the accused legislator. We think that's a very fair process. It keeps things within the legislature, and we hope that it will succeed we hope that legislators will come to know that it's a friendly process, that it's meant to be constructive and helpful, and that they have nothing to fear from it. And at the end of the day, that public confidence in the process and in the integrity of our legislature will grow and grow even more than it is today. Thank you.
Thank you. We're to item 4. I'm not only, as a historian, not only support ethics in government, moral ethical turpitude, but the initiative process intrigues me. Goes all the way back. Utah was among the first states to adopt the initiative when it became a state in 1896. You know this. The initiative referendum, both were processes which grew out of the progressive period. And the progressive period was in response to, in my opinion, the most corrupt period in American history, not only on a national level, but on a state level. And by no means then is anyone implying that this legislature is corrupt. But the nice thing about any initiative is that it gives the people voice. And I think sometimes all of us, as a county councilman, I'm sure I did the same thing in the early 90s, we forget that we're the people's representatives. And the initiative process allows the people, during the process at least, to represent themselves. And not that our Democratic Republican representative democracy is not the best that's ever been invented, but it allows for a very brief period for true democracy to occur in the country and in the various states which have the initiative and referendum. I would just say a couple of things about the initiative itself. One, it gives voice to the people. And I think the legislature, as much as possible, and I know the Senator agrees to this, the legislature need to hear the people and make sure that they understand what the people are saying, and conversely, that the people understand what the legislature is saying. And if, as it happens, the initiative is defeated, then the people will have spoken one way or the other. The second thing I would say is that I think this is good for legislators. I know I've known Lyle Hilliard since since he was in high school, and I was much younger. I am younger.
Did he have hair?
He had hair, and he dated the girl next door, and one of my favorite people in this world, Bonnie Lou. Anyway, wasn't it Bonnie Lou? And I love the waves, but I think there are some legislators who need to be reminded as to what their moral ethical responsibility is to their constituents. And although I believe we don't have any particular problems in the Cache County area, I think there are some, I have at least read of some incidents in which some legislators need to be reminded to whom and for whom they're accountable. And so for that reason, I support the UEG initiative process. Now, that being said, we have 2 slides, I think. Well, I think we ought to do this just to ensure that we comply with the law, to explain the signature gathering process, and I'm not sure that anyone here is interested in gathering signatures, but let us just take you through that, and then we'll open up the questions and answers. So, how can you help? Your help is needed in a variety of ways. I don't like PowerPoint and someone reading them, I'm gonna read them anyway. Help collect signatures on the petition when you sign up tonight. I don't know whether you folks want to volunteer. Anyway, write letters to the editor in support, spread the word online, contribute large or small. You can make donations. Volunteer to help enter the signatures on computer forms. Talk to your neighbors and friends and build support. And then I think the single most important vehicle that if you're really interested in this is go to the website, www.utahethics.org. You can go online. Anything that you gentlemen would like to add to that? All right, we're now to item 6, the question and answer session. I am reminded that, and I received another email today from the folks who were, I guess, in charge. I should be in Star Valley coaching football, but anyway, that being said, each speaker must state name, title, you can say whatever you want, city and county of residence, it's a state requirement, you have no more than 2 minutes per comment. There are so few of us that, I just don't want any lengthy diatribes, all right? So, we're now open to question and answers of either Kim or Alan or anyone else who may think they know something. Marcia, do you know anything?
I don't know.
Anyway, so,
Well, let me say, Kim.
state your name.
Lyle Hilliard, Iowa Senator, live in Logan,
Logan, Utah.
Utah. When I read this, and again, I support the initiative process, I was instrumental in amending the process to require the 7 public meetings, primarily for a chance for people to actually read the bill. I mean, you could never stand up in the legislative committees, and say, this is a good bill, it helps education, or it helps this, without people reading the bill and saying, what about this, and what about that, and if you thought of this or that, but this is the thing that concerns me. I've got many questions, I could take the full 2 hours. My problem as a legislator, also as a lawyer, I often find myself asking myself, if I were now standing in front of a judge, and he said, what do you mean by this, what do you mean by that, you do? See, we have no legislative history, we have it now recorded, but what Alan says as a drafter, I don't know if that's legislative history or not. And if the words of the bill say something different than he says, the bill's controlled. The court's not gonna say, well, Alan Smith said this and the bill said this, something else. Let me draw to a real concern that I have. I have worked on ethics bills, and I have tried to draft them. And I finally come to a solution that no matter how carefully you draft them, has unintended consequences. The real issue, the real answer to this problem is if you think Lyle Hilliard is unethical, defeat me in an election. Come on up and defeat me in an election. You can bring this up. You can say I'm unethical. I went to a jazz game 4 years ago with my son Matt, and I don't know who bought the tickets, but I took him there because he can't hear in a regular setting. Defeat me on that purpose. But to get it, and I'll just share this story. While I was drafting this ethics legislation, I was looking to buy a car here in the Valley. And I went to a car dealer, I looked at several, I remember one car dealer, the owner of the dealership was visiting with me, I knew him very well. He said, Lyle, it would be worth it to me to have a senator driving my brand new car in this town. And so I'm gonna give you $1,000 discount on that car. I don't know if he's telling me the truth. He may have $1,500 slush in there, but he could have given me $1,500 if I didn't negotiate it. And I thought to myself, now, I don't know if he's a lobbyist. He probably, that company probably doesn't have a paid lobbyist, but he's a member of the Utah Automobile Association. They have a paid lobbyist. And I don't know whether he's a president, I have no idea on that. And I thought to myself, how in the world can you draft something like that? Do I say, no, I'll pay full price. Although my 4 neighbors are all getting discounts on the car, no, I'll pay full price, because I'm a senator, you can't bribe me. And you get these gifts types of things. I thought we made a major step in the last legislation. We took meals down to, $10, and